sexual dysfunction happens with high cholesterol. That's what we're going to talk about. And we're going to say that it happens in men and in women. In men, we call it erectile dysfunction for the most part, right? And then in women, it also shows up as decreased arousal and responsiveness. So that is the definition of sexual dysfunction in men and women. For short, I mean, just good enough for our show. We can't go into too much detail. But when we say cholesterol and sexual dysfunction in men, we are talking about erectile dysfunction, and in women, we are talking about decreased arousal and decreased responsiveness to sex. All right. So with that, unless you want to say, with that out of the way, let's talk about how high cholesterol, how high LDL levels can cause either erectile dysfunction or decreased arousal and responsiveness in women. And the first point is cholesterol plaques, narrow and stiff arteries. Look at this yellow substance. This is a cholesterol plaque. And this image doesn't do justice. Actually, it's going to push it so close together that the blood that is flowing cannot flow as much. And this happens all over the body. And this image, you see the yellow plaque is blocking the cells, the red cells, from moving. And this image too, the blue arrow line is the only space left for the blood to flow. And this happens on your heart, it happens in your brain, it happens in your arms, it happens in your legs. That is why we talked about leg pain from what we call peripheral artery disease. We also talked about stroke because your cholesterol is blocking your brains from receiving the oxygenated blood. And we also talk about heart attack because the coronary arteries have been blocked. Your heart arteries have been blocked, and the blood is struggling to pass through to supply oxygen to your cells. And because that is happening, you are struggling in all those areas. The sad thing is that when you see, and when a doctor tells you that is happening on your heart, the time that they tell you that it would have already happened in your sexual organs long ago. But the plaques basically narrow your arteries, making sure that the blood flow is so low. And the male sexual organ, as you can tell, the only thing that makes the male sexual organ rise is blood flow. There's no bone in there. I was just asking, why didn't God just put a bone there?
Wow.
You need blood to basically flow there. That's all that it takes for your male sexual organ to arise and to stand. You need blood to flow there. And if there's no blood, then there's no standing. Mm-hmm. There's no blood, there's no standing. Somebody said standing ovation. My goodness. That's Eric. If there's no blood, there's no standing there. And that is what causes the erectile dysfunction. So for some people, before your doctor tells you that your heart is beginning to be a mess because you have coronary arteries, already it started in your penis. Why? Because the blood flow has completely slowed down, if not blocked, because of cholesterol plaques that we talked about, because of the yellow substances that are blocking the blood from going there. And again, because there's no bone, it takes only blood going there to raise it. If anything is blocking the flow, then that's the problem. That's a huge problem. That is a problem that is causing a lot of problems for a lot of people, because there is no blood flow. And you can't just leave things to be like that, because eventually it's going to be a problem. Mm-hmm. So we need the blood to flow there. We need the blood to flow. But plaques, are the culprits that are causing problems with the blood flow in that area. You want to add anything?
Yeah, and you added stiff arteries. Mm-hmm. So when it's blocked, it becomes so stiff, So when it's stiff, it's likely that blood cannot pass through it because it's not flexible for blood to be able to move through it easily for it to rise. So it becomes stiff, meaning that the arteries are not functioning well, and because of that, blood is not flowing freely to that area.
We know that stiffness is a problem because you have to be able to expand and collapse.
Right.
Expansion will let the blood flow in, and then collapsing will let the blood out. Now, if it is stiff, it cannot expand for blood to flow in, and that is being caused by cholesterol, like we are seeing in this image. The yellow substance blocking the blood, the pipe that is going down there is completely narrowed or sometimes even blocked. And so blood struggles to go there. Even if you stand, it will have to take hours for all the blood you need to go there to stand to be there because it's going in drops because all the pipes have been blocked or have been narrowed. And I think there is another comment here said, no bone is better for easy carry. I hear you, my bro. I hear you. God is a better creator. I was just making a joke, but you make a point. And that makes a lot of sense. And it can be reversed or it can be slowed, if we can do the right things at the time. So that is the first way that problems begin to happen. And this particular one was, I think we dwell too much on the men, but in the women too, it happens there. One part of the female sexual organ is what they call the clitoris, right? That is where women get stimulated and their G-spot or whatever we call it, right? Now, when that place is also, because it's supplied with blood, when during sexual activity, blood also flows there in volumes. That is why it becomes engorged. When it's engorged in blood, then the woman will also feel it. Now, if it is blocked because of narrowing, same system that is narrowing in the guy's, sticky thing, it's also happening in the woman, then blood doesn't go there. So it will take hours for the woman. Same idea because blood is dropping, go, for a long time before that place becomes engorged. And until that happens, there is no feeling for this woman. It can be a rape for her because she's not feeling anything, or because cholesterol has blocked the supply of blood to that area. And the same thing, in the guy, where because there's no blood, it cannot stand. In a woman, because there's no blood, there's no feeling because it is not engorged, the nerves are not activated, and she doesn't feel anything. So that happens also in the woman. Now, the next point is the endothelial.
Yeah, I think it boils down to the parts we said, irresponsiveness in women. Like you were saying, you don't respond.
They don't respond.
You don't respond because there is no blood flow in that area. And that is a problem, that you are not able to enjoy what you're supposed to be enjoying.
Definitely. So with that, we move to the next point. The next reason why cholesterol also causes dysfunction, high cholesterol causes sexual dysfunction. The next one is what we call endothelial dysfunction. Again, don't be scared with these words. We are going to break them down for you. Basically, what it means is that in your arteries, let me see if I can get this another slide here that shows this. So in your arteries, assuming this is one pipe that is continuous. So the red part is the lining inside the circle. See where either circle, whatever circle you look at, whether it's a giant big circle or any of the small ones, the red line is the lining of your artery, the pipe that is going down there. Okay. If the red line is a lining, that red line is supposed to produce something we call nitric oxide, a chemical in the body called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide, the function of nitric oxide is that when it is released, then the muscles, the smooth muscles of your arteries relax. And when they relax, they open up so that more blood will flow. I hope it makes sense. God is wonderful. So that is how he makes it. When you have been aroused and the action is going to start, these linings, what we call the endothelium or the lining of your blood vessels, release this chemical called nitric oxide. And nitric oxide makes your arteries or your pipes relax so that more blood will flow to engorge either the male sexual organ or the female sexual organ. So I'll call the male sexual organ the pen, and the female sexual organ, I'll call it the clit. My goodness, I make up good words. All right?
Yeah, so if you're showing that the inside parts of the of the circle, right? The red part is the part that produces the nitric acid oxide.
Oxide, yes.
So the nitric oxide relaxes, it's a dilator, right? It relaxes and more blood flows in. But if you are building up this LDL, this high cholesterol, it blocks the inside of the artery. I think we'll be saying that over and over. And when it blocks it, it's not able to produce the nitric oxide, which means that it's not going to relax for more blood to flow in.
Definitely.
And that will affect your function.
Definitely. Yeah. So this picture does justice. So the red lining is now blocked, and that's what we're calling the endothelial dysfunction. Huge word, but pictorially, it's very easy to understand. So endothelial dysfunction basically means that nitric oxide cannot be released because the lining of your blood vessels that go to the penis or the pen and to the woman, the clitoris, I call it the clit, because the lining are blocked. They are compromised because of high cholesterol. They cannot release these nitric oxide substances, which is required for your blood cells to relax, for blood to flow and rise there, for things to happen. And so that is cholesterol making themselves very bad for us right now, both men and women. So that is the third one. And
the second one, right?
I'm sorry, the second one. But before we go on, I think we have a couple of other comments. We have Lady Bishop Cecilia says, hello, thank you for stopping by. It's been a while. Thanks for joining us. And then our brother has also, Brother Ben has been active and like that. He has some nice nice stuff here too that see if we can read it. He says that this tissue borrows blood from everywhere in the body to function and returns the blood back. Food is I don't see that. Food is well, I'll skip that, but it looks like
involved maybe.
I think maybe it's a typo. Food is involved in the main causes, and a change in diet helps a lot. Thank you, bro. My goodness. But Ben knows his stuff. We'll get to all those things in the future, but he's already hinting how to do it. He's saying that I like that statement there. The body, the tissue down there, or the organ, I should say, the sexual organ, is during sexual activity, is borrowing blood from everywhere. All your blood, no matter where they are, they want to rise down there because they know something is going to happen. Now, if there is resistance to the flow, or because your vessels down there are stiff, constricted, they cannot dilate, they cannot open up for the blood to come, then no matter what action, no matter the preparation, nothing's going to stand. The men cannot stand and the women cannot engorge. And so action doesn't happen. That's basically the gist of it.
And the scary one too will be like, because you are forcing it for it to happen. You know, you are trying, you are exerting all this energy, making that to happen. That sometimes leads to what? Heart attack.
My goodness.
And we have the older people getting themselves into trouble because of their function down there is not as well. The arteries are blocked and they're forcing it. You know, sometimes they talk about an older person getting a younger person in a hotel. And I heard a story that the man died. So it can lead to death if it's not done well and you are exerting this energy and strength and there is a blockage. So we have to be very careful. That area needs to be on point before you take that challenge because that can lead to a lot of problems.
My goodness, that is very important. That's very important. And that also puts an emphasis on the point that we made earlier, that before stuff is not going on well down there, it would have already started in all the other parts of the body, including the heart. Yeah. So if you are finding difficulty in that area, then it means that you have to be careful because your heart already has that problem. It may not have shown you. So if you force it and, go beyond what you can, you are also putting a strain on your heart because your heart has the same problem. Yeah. Just that because you are not using your heart that way, you don't see. Yes. And so that is a very important point that she has brought. And so with that being said, we will say, Beloved, we wish above all things
that you
you may
prosper
and be in health, even as your soul prospers. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
God bless.